Yep.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's your boy Dave Noodles. We are on the Type 88 show, where we talk to people about how they turn their dreams into reality. And this guy right here is no stranger to checking goals off his bucket list. He is won tons of contests. Every time I'm turning on the IG, he's winning another lyricist contest. I'm seeing him perform more than I see people out here, most people performing that are on tour. This guy's just, he lives for what he does. So I want to welcome my guy, Ron Solemn, to the Type 88 show. What's up, man?
Not much, man. Thank you for having me. It's good to be here.
It's good to have you here, bro. You don't stop. You've been
Don't.
grinding for quite a while.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we could
Most
take it back
definitely.
to the day where, or when did you even find music? How did you even stumble upon writing?
Um, so yeah, I pretty much started I'd say around 2013, man. And, music just kind of started as a outlet for me. Because like I was going through like my last year of high school at that time. It was pretty stressful, but singing and making art and things of that nature really um, spoke to me, and it served as like a form of therapy. So um, that's pretty much. You might sorry, you mind holding on for 1 second?
Yeah,
Sorry. And yeah, man, just like you know, um, that served as like a therapy for me, doing like singing and making music, emotional outlet type of thing. Um, and like I just someone was telling me to just start recording myself on a laptop for some reason. I just had the something was telling me just to put it all down on recording so I could hear myself back, and it became a hobby that I just fell in love with. I was using like Audacity, and you know it sounded terrible in hindsight, like being able to look back at it and listen to it now, but back then it was just amazing to me. I just kept going with it all throughout college. So everything can be traced back to I'd say around that time. And life stresses somehow lead us to our biggest talents, and our passions and loves in some strange twist of fate. So
that's real. I totally agree, and I I'm a firm believer in, like writing through it. That there's every day there's something. I know so
mhm,
many people that are going through something. They're
right.
fighting a fight. They're working towards this. They're dealing with this. They're trying to overcome that. And
Mhm,
I always try to encourage them. Write it, just write, and not to write a song. Just write how you're feeling. Write what you're grateful for. Just put some
right.
things in perspective. And
Mhm,
it's crazy. I've been thinking about my life because I always think I'm like, because I work where I grew up. I work in the home I grew up, so I'm always crossing these memories of as a child. And
it's work
yeah,
like where you were raised.
yeah. So I'm always having these memories, and I'm like, I wish I wrote more stuff down when I was younger. I
Mhm,
wish, because it could have just, I would have still had to deal with it, but I think it's a great way to deal with it, and there's so many other ways to, you know, there's so many other outlets, but just writing,
right.
talking about what you're going through, because you can't say everything to your mom when you're 13 and you like someone and you're feeling a type of way, or you know what I mean, or you can't talk to
Definitely.
your dad when he's at work.
Mhm,
But then when you're writing to yourself, and that's amazing, bro, for you to find music and use it as an outlet for therapy, and to
mhm.
really heal yourself, or to build yourself through, special times in your life, whether good or bad. What
Right,
was that
man.
first song that you brought to the world? What was that first one?
Um, so I mean, from like 2013 to about 2015, I was doing mostly covers, to be honest. So started out purely singing. This is before I even knew like that I could rap if I kept doing it. But like just started out singing, I guess, like old like Frank Ocean songs and like old like Motown content, just real old stuff and Smash Mouth too. Like it was very random mixture of
That's
things,
dope.
but like started recording those and putting those up on YouTube and things like that. And um, I wish I remembered the passwords to my old YouTube videos so I could take them down. But um, like you have to start somewhere. So
Of course.
um, that was that point for me. My first original songs I started recording and writing in 2016. The first original song I wrote was actually called Anxiety. It was uh, based off of my own personal mental health journey and challenges and difficulties that I had at that time, and that I still have had through the years, and have been trying to learn to work with and grow from. So everything is really relevant to my actual life.
It's so important. It's so important to, share how you're feeling. And what's amazing is you're then becoming a voice for others that when they hear it, they're going through something. They could relate to it or they could tap into certain parts of it. And so
Definitely.
how's the response been to some of those records where you were maybe pouring your heart out? Maybe you
Mhm.
even questioned putting it out because it was too real.
Mhm.
But then you put it out. How did it feel to put it out? And then what kind of responses did do you have any
Um,
memorable responses?
so it takes people think like when they record stuff and put them on the internet, that people are just gonna magically find them and start listening to things. And it kind of took me years to realize that that's not how it works. There's work that has to be done in order to even get your content heard at all by people, even one person and stuff before, people start going to it on their own. But yeah, at first I was never, really self-conscious or, embarrassed about putting this type of stuff out. Um, I know that, there are people that maybe wouldn't be comfortable putting out, mental health related songs or stuff about their life struggles. But for me, I don't know, I always felt like a confidence with it. And I felt like, if anything, it would serve as a fossil or like some type of keepsake, a record of, what I went through and then, what was going on. And those can't just, those don't die. Like those last forever. So I kind of felt super comfortable putting that stuff out, just so people know like this is what's happening. And I felt the most passion about those things. So I was able to write and record about them and make, quality music that I genuinely enjoyed because, it was true to myself and I was letting stuff out. And I've only really noticed the responses from people, I would say, in more recent years. Um, so maybe starting around like 2018, people discovering my stuff on Spotify or anywhere else and going back and listening to the whole catalog and older records that I put out. And, they come to me and they send me messages like, um, thank you for sharing this. It was very brave of you to put this on record. And one guy even, told me that my song like had helped him pretty much like save his life. you know? And I legitimately got a compliment like that from one guy once, about, you know, one of my songs, and I still have that screenshotted, you know, to this day. And I look at it once in a while whenever I need a reminder of, you know, the impact that I have if I feel like I'm not getting anywhere, just to know that I put something out that possibly saved somebody's life, you know, that's struggling, and it was amazing to be the impact.
That's beautiful.
Mhm.
Yeah, and it's so easy to get caught up and be like, oh, the streams, everyone's posting the streams, everyone's posting the views, and that is all data. But
Mhm.
that right there, you can't even measure that. You can't even measure helping someone.
Right.
It doesn't
Mhm.
say how many people on Spotify you helped or lives you changed. You know what I
Right.
mean? And so I think that's just a beautiful thing. I encourage people to just share their story, you know, it one way or another. And then if you could channel it through your gift,
Mhm.
it amazing things could happen. Or if you're just doing it for yourself for therapy, write in a rhyme, record it in the your phone voice memos, write it in a
Right.
journal that has a
Mhm.
lock on it that only you know.
Mhm.
Just taking care of, being there for yourself and just doing, helping yourself and letting things go, and how do you feel about that? How do you feel about talking, get letting things go, and because things build up. What are your
Definitely.
thoughts on all that?
Um, it's just not a good thing to do, you know, in general, to keep that stuff. You kind of learn that um throughout life, like one way or another is going to come out. So um it's best to, you know, address it when you can, because you can't run from yourself, if that makes sense, you know. So, and once you get the strength to, you know, deal with those things and bring them out into the light, it's like you rebuilt yourself as a person. And even though it's hard to go through those struggles, like when you come out on the other side, you're like unbeatable, and it's a beautiful feeling to, you know, speak your truth and acknowledge it and then grow from that. um, and we avoid, you know, pain and bad times, but sometimes you need that in order to find your best self. So.
Yeah, yeah, man. I've grown up and I've always had very tough times saying like goodbye to something or someone, and you deal with all these questions of, should I keep this going? Should I continue this? Am I quitting my dream? Am I quitting my
Right.
goal? And but then there've been times where I looked at it, I'm like, there's I had to pull the roots out of the ground and I had to plant a tree somewhere else. It wasn't me burying every tree that I ever had. It was me having to find the strength to be like, okay, this isn't right for me. This person
100%.
isn't right for me.
Mhm.
All these flags are proving it. This is proof. Like I couldn't have had more like clues. Like God couldn't have given me more like, hey bro, like yo, be careful, man. Like
Right.
literally he probably could have just came down. Like it was at a point where he probably should have. And then I would just be like, I would probably hold on because I'm a very sentimental dude. So like holding on to certain things, holding on to even items and and people. It was tough for me to let certain people go, but they were toxic. They were
Mhm.
hurting me in many ways, and letting go that way, and then also
Mhm.
letting go of even just letting someone know like, yo man, you stepped out of line. Like I don't understand. Like why'd this go this way? And I wasn't always a fan of conflict growing up, and even now I'm not a fan of telling someone like, yo man, what's going on. That was a little out of line.
Right.
Um, but then when I talk about it, either with someone else or directly with the person, letting it go is huge dividends of just how I feel, being
Hmm.
able to move forward, um, and letting go of people that were toxic, that were hurting me, that were taking away from everything, you know. And then it's not saying, oh, only keep people in your circle that are getting you money and that are funny and always positive. Like
Right.
that's not fair, you know. Like there's people that need us. You can't be like,
Yeah.
oh, my uncle, he's hurting. I don't want him in my life because he's not always happy because he has a broken leg. Like, no, like we got to be there for
Right.
people too. It's not just let
Hmm.
go of people that are having a tough time. So that's,
Definitely.
you know, so, but that's real, man.
Hmm.
What's your,
And
yeah,
now I was just gonna say, kind of going back to the point you mentioned about the red flags and the signs, like they're just gonna keep getting worse, until you till you finally, make that change. And sometimes making changes is a hard thing to do, but one way or another, life is gonna push you, so might as well embrace it.
yeah, man. And here you are in the music industry, which you don't know if it's a red flag. Sometimes, you know what I mean? There's all these different places and things and contracts and certain things. It's hard to determine what's right. Sometimes we learn it after we've been in a relationship a long time. And this could be a business relationship. You know, it's tricky, but
Hmm.
then it's just like constant learning.
Right.
So, what's your take on like intuition? What's your take on like having gut feelings when dealing
Right.
with certain situations or dealing with people, especially, you know, in the industry or just in life?
Um, Definitely in life. I used to not trust that gut feeling, and like you said, you kind of do what you want to do and you ignore things. But um, as I get older, it just kind of seems like that feeling is correct, you know, and I usually use that to guide my interactions and my decisions nowadays as an adult, because in a way, when a decision kind of vibrates and things feel correct for your path and just your energy in your life, and looking back on it, the times that things didn't seem right, they most of the time didn't turn out to be right, so you kind of should trust your intuition and your gut feeling and just the energy of yourself in relation to like the world around you, like when everything is in sync, there's no word for that, but you can feel it, and it's just like um you always end up better because of that. So nowadays I kind of just follow that and use it to guide me, especially with this music stuff. Just early on, because in the local music scene, you don't really know. Like you think, you're gonna go out there and meet these people that want to hear you and want to see you win and put you on shows and things. And then when you get out here and interact with people, you see that there are people that want to listen, but there's also just as many like scammers and promoters and people just looking to take advantage of artists with a dream and things of that nature, and people that just don't want to see you win, as much as they may pretend to. So, uh, especially here, you really see like a darker side of that behind the scenes, and it changes how you interact with everybody that you come across. People that are hosting shows. No offense, if you have like a cover charge or anything like that for your shows, but sometimes they charge like super large amounts of money, just for like a 10-minute slot. You
Yeah.
think you're about to perform in front of a whole crowd and get a whole bunch of new followers, and it's like, the promoter knew nobody was coming to that show, or nobody that would actually like your art. So you have to learn that,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
not listen to all the stuff people are saying, because they could be lying. So
Yeah. Right. And
right.
it's just, and it's like, if you just don't stop, you're going to be good. It's just,
Hmm.
but it's also like driving really fast down a
Right.
block with stop signs. There are risks involved, so being in an industry where you're just going full speed and you're trying your best, you're doing whatever you can, but then you're going to run into a stop sign. Maybe you didn't even know there was a stop sign. It was like a tree covering it. And you're like, oh shit,
Right.
my bad. But it's like, as long as you don't stop following your dream,
Hmm.
it don't stop, because you
Right.
don't stop. And there's so
Definitely.
many lessons along the way. And shout out to, the wholehearted folks that are putting together shows, the platforms that are supporting, looking out, because there's so many good ones. There's so
Hmm.
many, I could go on and on about all the good ones, but there also are opportunists and people seeing the opportunity to get someone to pay to perform, or get,
Hmm.
and I know people that have paid to perform that have been across the country doing it. And a lot of
Right.
what we see is a lot of pay to perform on larger scales.
Hmm.
So it's kind of, you just kind of have to pick how you promote it. But I could go on and on about that. But shout out to the platforms that are really putting on for the artists, the showcases, the sites, there's so many good folks out there that are really looking out. And
Definitely. And it's just using that intuition, that judgment, like you said, um, to kind of guide your way, and of course you're going to make mistakes along the way, so don't be too hard on yourself if
yeah,
you do end up getting scammed. It's happened to all of us. So but you have to grow through these experiences, so um, just take it all as part of the plan for you.
yeah, like that can't be the deciding factor of your future. You can't be like,
Right.
oh, I went on a bad date 10 years ago. I'm now
Right.
not going to date anyone.
Mhm.
You're blocking yourself. You're blocking your blessings. I've been saying lately, don't Dikembe Mutombo your blessings. A
Exactly.
lot of people see their blessing, they just go like this, and they're like, no, no, no. But like, don't do that to your blessing.
Right. Because people are so used to disappointment, and then they start.
It's
uh,
tricky, right? Because then
mhm.
it's configuring, it's like unwrapping. You're seeing a gift and then you unwrap it. Sometimes it's not a gift. There's all these little things, but it's
Mhm.
like, just keep going. Don't stop, and get,
Exactly.
we get smarter as we go. And just
Mhm.
got, and I can learn everything right now, but there's no telling that tomorrow I could make a mistake or something bad, someone may get
Right.
over on me, but that's not going to stop me.
Exactly. And mistakes are part of life. You kind of just got to take the L's and you know graciously accept them. So
Yeah, man. What's your take on forgiveness? Because I know when we deal with situations or we deal with people that may hurt us,
Mhm.
there's this like healing period. And to me, I feel like forgiveness is one of my constant battles. There's always there's people that they do stupid things all the time. They hurt people that I love.
Mhm.
They get over on people. I still gotta look at them.
Right.
I still gotta deal with them, or they've hurt my people in the past. I gotta look at them. And sometimes it's hard
Right.
for me to forgive them. So it's a
Mhm.
constant battle for me. What's your take on it? How do you deal with it? you have any tips for us?
Um, I would say, I'm not too far off from where you are in terms of, uh, being forgiving and, trying to learn to bring that into your everyday life and, letting things go. Um, I have a couple of songs, addressing that very topic. I do have, like a song called Forgiveness and one song called like The Grudge. Like, so, you can kind of see, where I've been mentally. And I guess one of those things that you kind of have to do is, as I've gotten older, I realized that I can't take things too personally, not saying if somebody does something wrong to me that I shouldn't stand up for myself, but just the fact that we tend to pile up all the wrongs that were done to us. So then, when somebody new comes and does something stupid, our reaction isn't necessarily just the reaction to them, it's the bottle up of like all the times we've been done wrong, and we start to
Yeah.
feel like the world, is doing something against us personally, like it's attacking. And but when you spend time getting to know other people for real, and even if you find yourself, dealing in communities of like the less fortunate, if you spend time with the homeless, for example, or a couple times in my life, I have been in places where I've seen people that are mentally ill, and have mental illness struggles that are worse than, the struggles that I have dealt with in my life. And you see the point that they're at, and then it really opens your perspective and your eyes up to the fact that, life is not beating just you up. Like a lot of people are getting beat up. Like everybody gets beat up to some degree, and some a lot worse than you. So it's not the world targeting you, and that kind of makes it easier to roll with the punches, and accept the pain. And it's still gonna hurt, but you don't become a victim to it. And the same with people, because you realize that uh, there are times that you've done wrong to other people as well, and you're the reason that they are hurting and can't forgive, but it wasn't intentional on your part. So you kind of have to put yourself in other people and have mercy, on that. And it takes time to learn that. It's a case by case thing, but just don't take things personally.
That's real.
Mhm.
That's definitely real, man. Yeah. Yeah, bro. Mental health is just so important to address, and I think it's wonderful that you touch on so many different topics in the tracks. You're being open, you're being honest, transparent, and then you're
Mhm.
also giving people maybe they couldn't put it into words, or maybe they're having a tough time talking it out. They
Right.
have a way to experience, maybe a relief or a joy, or even like going to the gym and working out to it or something, giving them an outlet through your words. And I think that's a powerful thing, bro.
Definitely. Music has a power that I can't really put in the words, but it's there, and I've seen how it's affected lives. Even for me, listening to music. Sometimes that's all you have at like your worst moments, and it's like all the pain or like the crying that you may want to do, like finally hits you. Once you hear the song, it's like nobody's hearing me, but like this song hears you, like because this person has been there, and then it forces you to release, and that's a great feeling as well.
What album is there for you during a time where you needed it most?
um
Do you have like that one that really got you through?
um I've had multiple, to be honest.
Which one?
Definitely, Kid Cudi's, Kid Cudi is somebody that uh, people kind of say my music gives them a similar feeling towards, I guess, because he's also so open, about his personal struggles in life and how he deals with that. Same for like Kanye West, and especially like in his older music, uh, 808s and heartbreak era type that type of music. Um, but just a lot of rappers and a lot of music that spoke on those things and made it okay to address those topics in music. So I kind of go back to those as a reminder, especially that artists, people think artists and the bigger names don't go through anything, but that's not true either. And sometimes you need that reminder. Uh, but definitely, I would say Kanye and Kid Cudi
So you
on
would
an artist
say
standpoint.
so 808s, was that the one? Or those
Oh,
are or what Cuddy album was your one?
his last one, I can't even think of the
Man on the
name,
Moon
to be
3,
honest.
The Chosen?
Yes. Mm-hmm. The one with his face and then like the half skull type of thing.
The one that
That's
just came
definitely.
out?
Hmm.
Yeah.
That had some great tracks on it, and of course, "Pursuit of Happiness." That song spoke to everybody. um,
That
those are
was
big go
the
tos for me.
Yeah, that first Cuddy album was just it was just special, man. Like it was a moment, and I was very fortunate to see him perform for the first time in New York City, and
Oh,
like I've shook his hand several times because that's how when he started, he was just in the crowd, literally just vibing, and so I've
right.
he's one artist that I've like hung out with, for short periods of time, a few times. But
Mm,
he literally reached out and touched me like in person, and it was just dope to just see that and just to see now he's in films, and it's just a beautiful thing, and he's a gift, man,
the
and
growth. Hmm.
I'm so proud to see him. I remember that time and the freshman cover, but I remember a few years before that when he performed a Hero Ballroom with A-Track at the 10 Deep
Right.
show, and I went with my sister and a few people, my friend Brenda,
Okay.
and we saw him perform with Steve Aoki. Like before the word EDM was a thing, like
Right.
it was like they were just throwing dope events in Brooklyn, and now like to see all them now, Aoki and A-Track and Cuddy, they're so big now, and
Hmm. That's
I
awesome,
remember
man. That's
that day.
legendary.
Yeah, yeah. I remember going to a bunch of his early shows, and I remember when that first album dropped, bro. It was like that was like a pin in my mind, like my heart. Like I just remember
Right.
that. I remember what was going on. I remember who I was with. I remember me and my brother bumping it. Time on,
Hmm.
just getting in and being like that was like the plan for the day was like picking him up and playing that shit on
Right.
blast. And I
Things
just
you don't
remember,
forget.
yeah, and that album was special, man. That first album, and he really came correct on this last one, and yeah, bro, that was such a.
Definitely.
There was a mine was it was during an interesting time for me. It was the Eminem show, and
Mm, yeah.
it was during a time where I was punished. I did some dirt or whatever, and I couldn't leave my house. I don't need to go into too many detail, but I got I was doing some dirt. It wasn't that bad if you look at it, now, but back then it was like really frowned upon, and
Hmm.
I couldn't leave my house. It was summer going into senior year of high school,
The
and
worst.
that was on the quest to be in the best summer of my life, like, and it let's just say all I remember is that album. It's just being home, working out hours
Hmm.
every day to that album, and didn't know who I could trust, didn't know in my circle if anyone, set me up.
Right.
It was during a weird time because I had a lot of friends, and then it was like a questionable time, like who do I trust? Who do I trust? And that album for me, like it was an important album for me in that moment. Um,
Hmm.
and these are like first world problems. Me being in a home with my parents feeding me, playing video games and working out. But for me, at that time in my life, it sucked. And that album
Yep.
got me through shit. Um,
Right.
I know other people had it a lot worse than me, and I'm not comparing, but for me, it got me through. Um, like
Yeah,
a
you needed that.
Yeah. And then the first time I went out after almost 2 months was that concert, was the Eminem show. And the
Right.
amount of craziness that I was able to go after 2 months of being locked in during the summer. So, summertime, it's like 4 times longer because you're not in school,
Hmm.
you're not seeing anyone. I went to that concert, bro. That concert was insane. Like, I literally lost my mind at that concert.
I can
I,
imagine
I
that.
had no voice. I
Yeah.
was dripping in sweat. Because that album was everything for me. So when I went, that was like my first day out.
Hmm.
But that was a
Right.
special album for me right there. College
That,
Dropout. But
that too. That's a great one.
oh man.
Late registration. I'll definitely put up there too.
So we're talking about hip hop. We're talking about life. What's your take on hip hop, the current state, and everything with it?
Um, just with hip hop and I guess music in general, um, I feel like honestly the quality seems to be decreasing, and I don't, mean that to disrespect, whoever's successful now, but that's something that kind of has always bothered me to some degree. Just how much of a game everything has become. Like and how it's really just a matter of who you know, and like um, luck because there's so many talented artists out here that you come across. Even for me personally, like meeting people, that are great, and it's like, why aren't they getting the recognition for it? But people on the internet are getting all these views and likes and fame for doing nothing. And I think that it's kind of frowned upon to say these types of things nowadays because it's like, just let everybody do their own thing and whatever their art is, just let that be. But then, you know, I think to be able to speak on it and to come with that attitude about quality and, making these statements and keeping some of those earlier edgy roots of hip hop, like the competition side of things, and um, not so much, buddy buddy. Even though of course you can have friends, but like making sure that you still want to be the best that you can be, or still be, the best period, and want to have that drive to compete and show what you've got. I think all that's necessary, as well as keeping the quality standards. So um, I think that should come back in music in general, not just with hip hop. I think you see it across the board with all topics, so all genres.
That's real, man. Yeah, it's a lot, right? This When we
Mhm.
grew up, I feel like it was like TV, right? We had a few channels, we had a few shows, but now it's how there's so many things. How do we pick? And then how do we pick of our favorite artist that has 4 albums that came out this year? There's certain
Right.
artists that go so hard and they're just
Hmm.
dropping stuff time in, time out. So it's tricky, but there's like for me, I try to find a sentimental attachment to it. Like I'll buy an album, I'll buy the
Hmm.
CD, I'll bump it in the car, I'll open up the booklet. I try to bring the romantic feeling to certain things, like especially if I have a favorite artist like the Kid Cudi.
Hmm.
Um, I buy an album every month. I do it like clockwork. On the 8th of every month, buy a new album, pop open the book. Maybe it was an album I bootlegged when I was 10 and
Right.
I didn't have the 10 for it. Like Aquemini, I just bought that. I never owned it.
Nice.
I just copped it.
Hmm.
I had AT Aliens. Um, I never bought Aquemini. I don't have Stankonia. There's so many ways to kind of dig back in. Um,
Hmm.
it's tricky. I try to look at music as food almost. Like you could get that home cooking from grandma,
Hmm.
or you could get that fast stuff quick, 2 minutes. It makes you feel good, and then maybe a minute or two later, you're questioning it, or you're wondering,
Right.
or maybe it just makes you feel good in that moment, and that's
Hmm.
what you need in that moment. But it's it's definitely the industry is so different. The accessibility is so different. The quality, it's tricky. I love Donda. I love Donda. I love what he did with
Right.
it.
Right.
He put so much effort in with so many features, and he has the budget and the following to do something of that nature. But I
Right.
love that he put so much effort in, and he mixed the new, the Fivio Foreign, the Playboy, and then
Hmm.
he'll have the Jada and the Styles. Like
Right.
I think that's like my standout album of last year. Um,
That definitely was a unique album in general. So I wouldn't put that in
of
the
course.
category, but I guess I like like Griselda as well, and how they um, brought like a pure raw energy back to hip hop too. So it was definitely a standout for me, and they never stopped working at all. So
Yeah, bro, it's crazy. I was looking up Mac Miller emails, like just keyword Mac Miller on Gmail, and I
mhm.
found there's this event that they have in Atlanta. I forgot the name of it, but he was performing at it. This was like 12 years ago,
Mhm.
and I remember seeing the names on the flyer. Special guest J. Cole. Special guest Cool Kids. Special kid guest Kids in the Hall. Freddie Gibbs. And I was like, oh,
Big names,
I was like, but at that time, bro, Gibbs was just like, he was just kind of touching the
like
blogs just barely.
right.
You could tell he had the drug money, and he was
Mhm.
paying to kind of get that extra promo to be on Nat Right and to Dope Boys and all that. Like he was using
Right.
probably his hustle money to get in those spots. But then I'm like, oh snap, bro! Like that guy last year, he was just nominated for a Grammy, and like,
Mhm.
and I feel like he's about to put out some crazy album coming up after
His
um
stuff is great. Like,
Alfredo.
yeah.
And I was like, oh snap! Like he didn't stop. He didn't
Mhm.
stop. And yeah, the Griselda. I'm big on Benny's. Probably my favorite in terms of
Mhm.
rotation. Um,
Right.
I love Bulletproof. I probably bumped that more than most albums last year. I know it may have even came out the year before, and I love the Plugs I Met
Right.
albums.
Mhm.
Those are just fire, and I love the tapping into like the mafia vibe. it
Mhm.
takes me it takes me to those films, and you could visually see what's going on. So yeah, shout out to
Right.
Griselda doing their thing. Freddie, you know, what was your favorite album of last year? Did one really stand out to you?
Of last year. Honestly, I think one that doesn't get much recognition as much as it should is definitely Meek Mill's album, Expensive Pain, and Isaiah Rashad. He put out a project. I Over the past few years, like I was always one of like Isaiah Rashad's biggest critics. For the last few years, actually, I just kind of never really vibed with his stuff, but this last album really impressed me. And
Yeah.
at first, I didn't take the opportunity to like dive in, but once I did, I was like, oh, this is great. You know, same with Meek Mill. I think he really stepped his game up too, and people don't talk about it as much as they should.
Yeah, and it's tricky, and I think it's good that I think it's important what you said. Like I sat down, I soaked it in, and I think that's so important. I think
Hmm.
it's so important. Because everything's kind of shuffle mode nowadays,
Right.
and you kind of like for me lately, and I'm just like, yo, I gotta kind of find ways to like pause time just a bit because things are moving really quick. I'm working before you know it, I'm going to sleep, and I'm back at it the next day. Like, how do we
Right.
just find a way to just slow time down a little bit? And I think what you said, sitting down, popping the album in, and just taking it in,
Hmm.
and just soaking it up. And because I think the feelings are there with the music and the artists are creating it, but just sometimes like there's so much coming at us, we don't even know which way to look or what to take. So I got to definitely
Hmm.
check out that album. I know of it, but I didn't get to spin it yet.
I
What's the
definitely
name
think
of
you'll
it?
enjoy that one. Expensive Pain.
I've heard Expensive Pain.
Oh, okay.
Isaiah's,
Um,
what's his
I think that's called The House is Burning.
word?
Yeah, it was really good in my opinion. So
Yeah, yeah,
I'm glad I gave that a chance to marinate.
yeah. And that's important too, because I saw a bunch of people going in on the Cole album, like, oh, what's this? What's that? But like, yo, are you give that a couple of spins and see what he's saying in a breath? Like he's going in, like, and like
Exactly.
I really enjoyed, I really enjoyed that album, Off Season.
Right. Definitely. I think it set the tone for the whole year. Um, once he dropped that, you kind of saw some of the more like rapidy rap artists come out, come out of the house and put more effort into their stuff. So I think he set that off for 2021 definitely.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. It doesn't hit you instantly like a pop record, like a Drake song. It has this little more pop flair that hits you kind
Mhm.
of in a dancey. But yo, that Cole album hit, man. And he brought
Mhm.
when he came out with Killer in the beginning, like that set the tone for me because Killer was he's been one of my favorite artists since a youngin. I remember
All right.
I remember Confessions of Fire, like he postponed that album like 8 times. And I remember as like a 10-year-old changing that on my calendar that I was on my wrestling calendar. Like every month I would cross out Confession. I'm like, come on, like
Right.
where is this? And so like when he came out with Killa on that first track, I was ready to go.
Right. Big moments, man. That's what it's all about.
And then he played some ball over in Africa. Like that was just cool, just doing cool stuff, and
Yeah, that was strange and different.
yeah, yeah. He only Cole could pull something like that off. Um, but that was
Right.
cool.
We're just like, okay, sure.
So what are so we've talked about so many awesome things, just mental health, the state of hip hop.
Mhm.
This is a game that I like to play. It's called Dream On, where
Okay.
I kind of gather some data based on our convo in the moment, and then I freestyle questions to you based on your dreams. So I'm just gonna
Okay.
throw like a dream question your way,
Mhm.
and you tell me the first person or first thing or whatever whatever comes to your mind when you think of this question. And if you're not feeling the question, you could swipe left or whatever and tell me. But I try to
Gotcha.
do it. I try to do it based on the interview experience.
Okay.
So let's get right to it. So if you could open up on a tour with any artist, who would it be?
It would be Boss from Dreamville. Um, because honestly, he's one of my favorite rappers of all time.
He's dope.
Um, and his music really resonates with me. So I would love that. I've actually tried sending him a few emails and no response, but That's definitely the one.
If you could remix any song of yours with any artist, what song and what artist?
Hmm,
One of your songs.
that's tough. Right. Uh, I would probably do Body Bags, and you know, just based off the pure popularity that's received. I guess the artist that I would put on that, who would I want to hear on that, man? Honestly, it would have to be. It's weird. It's either going to be J. Cole or Kendrick, of course.
That'd be
So,
fire. Hey, you know we're dreaming right now, so if you got both, that'd be
right.
sick.
Hmm.
I saw Cole tweet, or was it Kendrick the other day? I think I'm hoping for a record from them, or
Yeah,
many.
it's been years waiting for Kendrick to drop.
If you could perform in any venue or arena anywhere, what spot would it be?
Of course, it has to be Madison Square Garden, man, because I've grown up on the East Coast, New Jersey, and Madison Square Garden is that place. Like, if you've done it there, you made it. So that's
That's
definitely the one.
yeah, bro. That the Mecca, bro.
Yes, definitely.
I'm actually going to a Knick game in a few weeks, so shout out to my lady for hooking it up on
Okay,
Christmas.
that's
I'm
what's
hyped
up.
to be back in the. I haven't been in the garden in a while. I can't even remember
Right, that's what's up, man.
the garden. Yeah,
Definitely get some footage of that.
yeah. If you could work with any director to add music to any one of their upcoming films, who would it be?
Ooh.
We don't know the film, but what director would it be?
It would be doesn't really fit, but Christopher Nolan, man. Like all his movies are my favorites. Like the Dark Knight, Interstellar, Inception, those types of films. Man, they're like super deep. I don't know
Yeah,
if my music fits in with that, but it would be great.
that's fire. If you could hear your music on any TV show, what show could you hear your stuff on, or want to hear, or have your stuff on?
um, Definitely not any show that it would fit once again, but like Curb Your Enthusiasm and Seinfeld. Those are my favorite,
Word.
TV shows. Like,
Okay,
so it doesn't match at all. I know.
that's dope. That's dope. Do you watch
For real.
Euphoria by any chance?
I do not. I've heard it's good. I haven't gotten around to that yet.
I feel like I could hear something of yours on there. That's one of my
That would
that's
be
one of my
dope too.
shows right there.
I
I'm
want
hyped for
that
that
too, man.
comeback.
Let's get the placements.
That's dope. That's dope. If you could open up for any public speaker or activist, who would it be, alive or dead?
uh, of course. I mean, if we're talking about those that have passed away. Cliche answer. I would have to go with MLK or Malcolm X. But I guess for modern times, it would be Eric Thomas, the hip hop preacher. Of course,
He's
that guy gets me pumped up.
he's the man. Yeah, he goes hard.
So it definitely be him.
That's really cool, man. If you could write
Mhm.
a song to anyone that you didn't meet, but maybe in your family, where it could be someone in the future, who would you write a song to?
um, I would write a song to my unborn children.
Word.
uh,
It's beautiful.
you know, um, just to give them encouragement and true life words, straight from the heart, just about how much some of the things that we thought mattered in life, don't matter. And, like the insecurities and how much weight we put into certain people and, whether we were accepted or not, just all things I would get across to them to make them confident in themselves and strong as individuals. Definitely
That's beautiful, bro.
stuff, stuff that I had to learn,
Yeah, that's beautiful, man. That's
Mhm.
that's dope, man. Yeah, and
Yeah, man.
I love this game because when we talk about our dreams, even though they may sound crazy, they become a little less crazy when you tell someone them because you
Mhm.
never know who you're talking to. I may know Eric Thomas. I may know Kendrick. I'm, like we talk about 6 degrees of separation. The world now, bro, most of the time it's about three. I know
Yep.
someone, I know someone who works for Rock Nation. I know someone who produced on Nas's last album. I know the person who
Yeah.
designed the cover for Nas's album, who works for Mass Appeal. So you never know, of course, who you're talking to. Like maybe that has nothing to do with Eric Thomas, my friend doing graphic design for Nas, but you never know. So I think
Right.
this game is important because it may sound crazy, but like, bro, imagine the stuff Kanye was saying when he was 20. Like,
Right.
it may have sounded crazy, but like, bro, we're seeing like crazy dreams come to life on the regular, and they can come true. But it's like
Mhm.
we talked about who do you know, the alignment, certain things, luck. There's a lot of factors, but I think just talking
Right.
about it and just being like, yo, oh, I know Eric Thomas.
Right.
Like, oh
Especially with the
shit,
internet.
that's my brother's uncle. Like he went to school with
Right.
him back in, HBCU. Like before you know it, like 3 degrees, and then it's
Hmm.
showing, improving, showing up, and then delivering. When you get to that, when Kanye got in the studio with Jermaine Dupri when he was 19, he was ready to go. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like he was ready to go. Like, and then he did
That's a
it,
fact.
and then he took it, flipped it, took it, flipped it, and just taking what the opportunity you have. Like Cuddy, bro, when he did 808s and Heartbreak, bro, he literally wrote that album. Like, think about
Yeah,
it.
you can see the influence. Yeah.
That he wrote it, like if you look at the linear notes,
Hmm.
S Meskitty, bro, like almost every record, he helped craft it, and then it gave him the flip. He flipped that into Man on the Moon, flipped it to Man on the Moon
Hmm.
again. You know what I mean? And it's just taking these blessings that we have and then our preparation and then just flipping it. And then God
Exactly.
gives us these responsibilities. What do we do with it?
Hmm.
We have all these new followers. What do we do with it? Do we make a
Right.
fake GoFundMe page because we know we're going to get 10 G's, but then we have no followers the next year? Or do we take it and flip it, take the blessing and
Hmm.
turn it to more blessings? I'm
Right.
doing the latter. Any
Yes.
blessing that we gotta take it, flip it, share it.
Hmm.
And
And
I
there's so
appreciate
many,
all.
so many. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah, I was
no,
just
no,
saying, like, there's so many that want those platforms and that opportunity. So if you get that chance, you have to make the most of it and pay it forward. So um, when you get them, you don't squander them. So that's all that I keep in my head. Like if I am blessed enough to reach that point, can't mess that opportunity up. So
hard work, meet in preparation, but it's like we may not we may not get to choose when we have to be ready. We just have to be ready. If we've just
right.
been if we don't stop and we just keep pursuing that thing that matters to us,
Hmm.
when we're presented this blessing, what do we do with it? We got to get ready or be ready or find a way to get ready in that moment. And bro,
Hmm.
I'm very inspired by our conversation, and I believe that many of those dreams can come true for you.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that. I appreciate you having me and sharing all these ideas and chopping it up with you. It was a great conversation.
Of course, man. Yeah, you're always welcome back to the show. What
Thank
could
you.
people look out for this year? And new tracks, new shows?
Um, the shows, those don't stop either. I mean, due to like the ongoing pandemic, of course, I am being safe, and I don't live, on my own at the current moment. So I do need, I have people I need to look out for.
Word
So
up.
I just try to do shows, at opportune times, and you definitely look forward to seeing that. And um, in terms of songs, of course, I do plan to record uh, at some point this year, but I've really been focusing on doing like, behind the scenes stuff, and marketing and making videos for things that are already out there, building my fan base. So um, you expect to see me, but, also a lot of uh, silence from me. So, so a mixture of both.
Yeah, bro. It's so valuable to just lock yourself in a room doing 5 beats a day for 3 summers.
Yeah.
Like I know I reference Ye a lot, but just having that lock in focus, and then you could compare it, and then there's so many people saying, I'm about to do,
Hmm.
which is good, but doing, producing, you know, producing more than you consume is so key, and I think it's important to just have those locked in moments. So, then you have so much to share. And
Right.
we've talked about all these mental health things, bro. Like there's just value in, you know, finding your solitude and figuring out your peace and all these things. So, I'm looking forward to it, and I trust your process. So, whenever you
Appreciate that,
drop it,
man.
I know it'll be well planned. And for anyone out there, make sure to connect with my guy right here. Let me just pop up his gram. If you're on the visual side of things, just connect with him right here, Ron Solemn. That's
Nice.
RONSOLEMN. Connect with my guy right here. Follow his journey. He got something for everyone. Songs for any mood, whether you're trying to get through something or just try to level up at the gym. Like he will take you there.
Appreciate that, man. Thank you.
Yeah, bro. So you're always welcome back. Um, you know, keep spreading that. Passing that light, shining the light on. Mental health, helping others, the community, Jersey.
Right. And thank you, man. And thank you for having me and keep spreading the spotlight on the independent artists, the local music scene, man. It's needed. So thank you.
Of course, that's how we roll.
Hmm.
And for everyone tuned in, make sure to, of course, connect with Ron Solemn. Make sure to check the Type 88 show on your favorite podcast platform. Find me on YouTube. We got the video interviews right on there. We're on Maker Park Radio every other Wednesday at 6 p.m. And we've been dreaming for the evening, but as Ron and I say, don't stop. It don't stop.
Exactly.
And we were talking about it. Now we're gonna about to hang up, start all over tomorrow, and start doing it and making the dreams a reality. So if anyone
Yes,
out there
sir.
needs some support with their dreams, don't hesitate to reach out. You know, put on some Ron in the morning, get up and get it. Write those goals down. Start your morning in a good way, and set the pace for we have a lot going on in our day, but write those goals, write how you're feeling, share
Right.
your love, talk to someone, even if you're dealing with something, let that thing go. And we learned so many great gems talking to Ron here tonight. And bring them back, and if you got to drop a bomb on the gems, please do. um we're always learning, and we want to learn from you guys too. So we thank you all for tuning in. Don't stop
Definitely.
dreaming.
Yep, definitely don't stop. Thank you, Stereotype, and y'all have a great night, man.